Soft winds stir a delicate dance.
It's just such a fantastic place to be.
Imperfect boardwalks lead visitors to seashell-lined shores.
There's a lot to the town, from the beach to the woods and everything in between.
It is a place where New England charm meets scenic views.
This really quaint sort of New England village.
Inspired by the rise and fall of the sun, many say Father Time was born here.
Madison, Connecticut. It's home to the state's longest public beach, and despite having a population of less than 20,000, it's also home to some famous faces, athletes, film directors, and one French chef who not only pleased the palates of presidents, he earned 24 James Beard Foundation awards along the way.
This is Chronicle on WCVB Channel 5.
What is it about cooking and sharing a meal with those that you love?
This is the most beautiful thing in life.
Many of us are accustomed to seeing famed chef, author, and TV personality Jacques Pepin in the kitchen. He has been filling our homes and culinary curiosities for 7 decades now. Today we met at his home in Madison, where his interests are as varied as the life he has lived.
Okay, now I have the point.
One akin to a great love story, filled with flavors, friends, family, including his beloved late wife, Gloria, and his best buddy.
This is Gaston. Gastone. Okay. We moved here in 1976, so that's a little while ago. Yeah.
Pepin moved to the United States in 1959, met his wife in the Catskills, bought a home there, but an accident in the 70s would change that.
I had 12 fractures, broke my back, my hip in several pieces. So I said we'd have to move from upstate New York. I mean, I used to ski down my driveway, so it was pretty steep. We came around here once, and it was purely arbitrary.
Arbitrary, yes, but he stayed here in Madison. He and his wife raised their daughter Claudine and built a life to savor.
I love the beach. I go to the wood to pick up wild mushroom and a good restaurant from New Haven to along the coast. And and I have a lot of friends here now.
Pepin's reputation as a chef preceded his U.S. arrival. He had been a chef in some of the most renowned kitchens in Paris and personal chef to French President Charles de Gaulle. He turned down the same job at the White House, but he did agree to another meeting where 2 dreams would collide into a pleasurable partnership.
So when Julia came and Helen told me, it's a very tall woman with a terrible voice. That's Julia, yes.
A 50-year friendship with Julia Child would follow, a PBS series, Julia and Jacques Cooking at Home. For Pepin, cookbooks a far-reaching following. Despite his years of training, he did and continues to make cooking relatable.
I am considered very often maybe the quintessential French chef here, and then you pick up one of my books and you have a black bean soup with banana and cilantro on top. Probably the quintessential American chef.
He has authored 34 cookbooks, stacked among them in his home,
Memory.
his favorites.
That's all there is, memory in food, memory in love.
Pages filled with meals shared with family and friends. The menu, the wine.
My wife and me. We got a bottle of champagne.
These are the personal moments that have always been the foundation of his very public life.
This is the groundwork of my life. I mean, I was married for 54 years. We opened a bottle of wine. We cook, she cook, I cook, or we cook, and we had dinner every night.
The signatures, some signed in wine.
Sometimes, I take his pot, red wine, and up. We do that.
Much like many of his published cookbooks, his art frames the menus. He stops short of calling himself an artist. He isn't trained that way. But the canvas doesn't seem to mind. In 2016, he created the Jacques Pepin Foundation, along with daughter Claudine and son-in-law Raleigh Weeson, a chef and culinary instructor at Johnson & Wales University. The foundation helps give people who have hit hard times a second chance through culinary training.
People who have been a bit disenfranchised by life, people who come out of jail, homeless people, I know that in 6 weeks, I could teach someone how to clean salad and peel onion and chop garlic, and if that person likes it there, 5 years later, that person may be the chef there, and you redo your life.
He has received countless accolades, awards too many to name.
Everyone should have a memory wall with this many pictures on it.
Yeah, that's true.
But his greatest reward are the relationships that food brought to his table.
Now, Jacques Pepin says he is retired, but he has his beautiful art, as you saw. He has his cooking videos, and he hosts Boule tournaments. That's the game that looked like bocce that he was playing.
Yeah, and he still lectures at BU, where he developed the gastronomy and food studies program there, and he's still heavily involved in his foundation, and he's also still writing a book. So he's doing a lot.
Yeah,
I don't call him retired.
Exactly. Coming up, not your average seafood joint.